Do it. We've got some other folks coming on into the Zoom, so let me go ahead and let them in. As you know, every fourth Wednesday, we have our community pancake breakfast, and that's what we're doing today. And so we are setting up our Zoom because there's a lot of folks that could not come in person. As we see Christy coming on in. Christy, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Oh, good. All right. You're coming through loud and clear. So what we're going to do is just go through what we normally do and allow organizations to do their updates. And then we'll kind of get into what we're going to do for today. So Jessica Guidry from Kitsap Public Health District is up first. So go ahead, Jessica. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Marwan. Thank you so much. And hi, everyone. So my name is Jessica, as Marwan mentioned, and I'm the Equity Program Manager at the Health District. I just have updates on just a variety of things. The first thing is that the Health District is going to start doing monkeypox vaccination clinics, and actually our first clinic is this Friday. If y'all are interested, or if you know anyone who's eligible, please, let them know about the clinic, and we'll have other opportunities as well. The best way to get information on our clinics is to go to our website at kitsappublichealth.org. We also have a monkeypox email listserv as well for individuals who want to get updates in their email. And if individuals don't have access to the internet or have other barriers but are still interested in getting vaccinated, they can give us a call and this is a voicemail. So if they leave a voicemail, someone will call them back. That number is 360-728-2007. But if they want to talk to a live person, they're welcome to call our main desk at 360-728-2235. So yeah, that our first clinic is going to start on Friday. Vaccine is still limited, but we're trying to get it out there, and we're also working with different community healthcare providers as well. So with that, I'm going to switch over to COVID. COVID is still around. We're still seeing a steady but elevated number of cases.
Jessica, can I interrupt you?
Yeah, please.
Could you type that number in the chat so that I can, in that private chat there, so I can put that up on the screen for folks?
Yeah. So let me do that real quick.
Yeah, you see it down there in the bottom?
Registration. Yeah, registration assistance. Sorry, I'm one of those, I'm not going to say annoying, but sometimes I talk what I type, so please forgive me. So there we go.
No worries. And if you want to pull up the website, you can do that on your side if you would like to.
Oh, fantastic. You know what? That's a great idea, Marwan. Let me do that right now. I'll share my screen. And then I'm also happy to type up. And Marwan, I think can you give me access?
Yes, I can. Give me a second here.
Yes, Jessica. This is Zoom 101, the advanced course.
Oh, my goodness.
And bear with me, folks. I'm actually trying to control a monitor that is about 30 feet away from me, so I can't really see.
Well, Marwan, while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and still type the phone numbers in the chat box.
That's perfect. Thank you.
While you're doing that, Jessica, can I ask a couple questions for clarification on the clinic?
Yeah.
So is this, I know a lot of people are going to be wondering if this is going to be a free vaccine like COVID was, or do you need to have your health insurance card, things like that, the basic information about the monkeypox vaccine?
That is a really good question, Mark. And I'll have to get back to you on that. I think typically when the health district provides vaccinations, we ask for insurance information if they have it, but insurance is not required. But let me double check, and I will get back to you. And Marlon, what I can do also is when this is posted on Facebook, I can either respond and with the answers, or I can ask the health district to respond and answer that question. I will double check, Mark. Thank you for that question. Did you have another one?
No, that was my primary question. Thanks. I do want to say that I have friends in Australia who are going through winter right now, and their COVID levels are elevated rather significantly, and in some places they've gone back into shutdown. So winter seems to be the time that we really have to be careful about that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Mark. And COVID vaccine is still available. We're actually going to be doing vaccination clinic with Bremerton Housing Authority tomorrow. And I'm so excited about the partnership. And I will go ahead and I actually have the link to the Facebook page that, with the information on that. I'll put that up there. And this is a partnership with the Bremerton Housing Authority in recognition that this month is National Immunization Month. Let me go get that. And this page here will have all the details right there.
All right, that's perfect. Actually, for now, we'll have to do that. Jessica, just keep putting it in the chat there. That's perfect because that's coming up on the screen. And then that is how we'll do it until I can fix it on my end. So just continue if you don't mind.
Oh, not at all. And what I'll also do, actually, Marwan, even before I say that, I will let me put the actual link to our monkeypox page in the chat. So if you go to kits@publichealth.org, there's a graphic of the virus, and you can click on that and get to the page. But I will put that in the chat box right now. Yeah. So let's see. So it mentioned monkeypox, mentioned COVID, and in terms of some other other topics. If any of you visit lakes to swim, please check our website also, because we do have water contact advisories. And lately we've had to shut down a couple of swimming beaches due to either a sewage spill or high levels of bacteria. So please do check that as well, just so y'all can stay safe and healthy. We're also going to be doing an overdose awareness event on the 31st of this month at the Evergreen Rotary Park. And I will go ahead and also put that information in there. I believe my colleague Kayla is going to be there with naloxone as well, and can give it information on how to administer naloxone. That's the life-saving medication for someone who is experiencing an overdose. So, it's still a big concern in our community. So please, if you know anybody who's interested in that information, that event is on the 31st, and I will go ahead and put that also in the chat box. In the chat box. About the formatting for that. And besides that, though, a couple other things. So at the health district, we're hiring. I feel like we're always hiring, but I'm really excited to share that my program is going to be hiring, our equity program. So right now, it's just myself. And for individuals who don't know, so the equity program at the health district is almost a year old, and it was founded after the Kitsap Public Health Board declared racism a public health crisis last year in May. I'm really excited because, that this past almost year, a lot of the work I've done has been laying the groundwork within the health district in terms of doing an organizational assessment, training, really clarifying the scope, reaching out to our various programs to let them know what my work is up to. And then also, building relationships. But this position is our community engagement specialist. And I'll include that in the chat box too. But what I'm really excited about is often I'm going to work with, but it's hard to juggle both doing things internally and externally. We definitely need to be out in the community more. There's so many community events, so many community meetings, and just building those relationships that, in this position, I believe that the posting will close on the 5th. A college degree is not required. Really, what we're looking for in this position is someone who has experience working with communities who've experienced or are experiencing health inequities, marginalized communities that have been oppressed. So this includes our BIPOC communities, Black, Indigenous, people of color, also our LGBTQ plus communities, our communities with disabilities. You can't easily teach someone how to engage with community. So I'm really hoping to find someone who has that experience and that passion for that, and who has real passion also for equity, and also understands how systemic inequities like racism, sexism, all the isms affect health. So that position is going to close on the 5th, but we also are hiring for some other positions as well. If you know anyone who is really into writing and developing like media content, like in social media and graphic design and whatnot, we're also hiring for a communication specialist. We're hiring for a disease investigation specialist and 2 public health nurses. Christy, so that's a really good question about the, so what I'm going to do is let me look at the career page real quick. We do post the salary ranges on, for that. And it's a regular full-time position for the community engagement specialist. And the range is 3,428 to 5,809. So this depends on individuals' work experience. If they do have college education, although college education is not required, if they have certifications and things like that. And this is something where, I think, we are really trying to incorporate lessons that we learn in terms of inclusive hiring, in terms of, if there are positions that don't require a college education, then don't put college education required. You can put that as, preferred or whatnot. But yeah, thank you for that question, Christy. They have questions about that position as well. I will also make sure to put my phone number and email address. I'm really hoping to get information about that position in particular out as broadly as I can.
Jessica,
the
you
last
should
thing
be
I'll
able to
share-
share your screen
Yeah.
now. You want to ask for request permission there.
Fantastic. Okay, so let me see here. How about I share our careers page, and then I'll go back to monkeypox and COVID. And thank you so much, Marwan, for making that magic happen. So hold on. Let me go back.
You're too kind. I wouldn't
And I'll
call
show
it
you a little
magic.
All right, so if you go to kitsappublichealth.org, if you go on the top right, that's where you see careers. We don't have a LinkedIn presence yet. I think sometimes we may post, hey, check our job postings and whatnot. But the best way to learn about job openings at the health district is to check our webpage, honestly. And that's actually how I found my job, because there was no listserv to update me. But anyway, so if you go down to careers and you go to the left and you see current job opportunities, click on that. Sometimes, and I'll take you straight to our government jobs page, and this will link you to the various positions. So I mentioned the communication specialist, but this community engagement specialist, this posting just was posted yesterday. And this shows it's regular full time. It is a union position. So you're represented by the union. And this is the salary range right there. And I would be the person supervisor. And then we've got the disease and prevention specialist and the public health nurse positions there as well. And in terms of, updates on monkeypox, so if you go to kitsappublichealth.org, you click on that monkeypox updates and resources, click there. Here's some information about our monkeypox vaccination clinic. And I believe most, if not all, of our appointment slots may be filled already, but please do, I believe if you click on the register here, if there aren't any spaces available, I believe there is a waiting list. And then, please do, if you don't have access to the internet, call that number, 728-2007, and someone will call you back when we have more appointments available. And I'll share the criteria as well. So we are only vaccinating Kitsap County residents, because vaccine is limited, and we really want to serve people who live in Kitsap County. If others in other counties, they can get vaccinated by their local public health or healthcare agencies there.
Jessica.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so I had a couple questions for you in regards to monkeypox. Unfortunately, I missed the webinar last week. Is there a link where folks can access that? And then my second question is there monkeypox in Kitsap County? And is there how the COVID dashboard has information on that? Is there a monkeypox dashboard for Kitsap County also?
That's a really great question, Marwan. So we've had 3 cases as of right now, or at least as of half an hour ago. We do not have a dashboard for monkeypox. I'm not sure, Marwan, if we start getting more cases, if we get a lot more cases, if that will change. But the State Department of Health does have a monkeypox page. Let me show you that real quick. And that, let me stop sharing this, and I'll share that has the numbers by county. I know at the health district, we are very concerned about, I don't want to use my semantics, but it's what we call small numbers. So we often are very careful about sharing information about cases because we are a small county and people are very tight knit. So, but that said, let me take a look real quick and let me see if I can find, for folks who are interested in the numbers in Washington State. Let me look at that real quick.
While you're pulling that up, it just seems really alarming, right? I mean, it seems like the origin of this was in another country, and of course, there's going to be cases here in the United States. But you think about big metropolis cities, and you don't think about little old Kitsap County. So 3 cases in Kitsap County is pretty alarming to me.
Yeah, and Marwan, and the fact that I think WHO declared it a public health emergency. I believe the city of New York did as well. Public health agencies are concerned whenever there's a disease that's not endemic to the country. So, monkeypox is new to the United States, although it's not new in the world. And the fact that it spread pretty quickly in a short period of time was also a concern of ours. It is also, it's less easily spread than COVID. But, when you think about how it's spread, it's skin to skin contact, but also, and we don't hear about this as much, also through respiratory droplets. And I'm also going to take a look. I'm missing one. Oh, and then also contact with items such as clothing or bedding used by someone with smallpox. And, and another concern is, currently, most of the individuals who have contracted monkeypox in the United States are males who have sex with males, or bi, gay, or others identifying as male or assigned male at birth. And what's interesting in the United States is that we still see health disparities, just like we saw with COVID. We're seeing a disproportionate number of cases among Black and Latino. And so there's concern about stigma, and rightfully so. So I know here at our agency, we want to make sure that we share the facts, right, in terms of who's currently at risk, but also not wanting to underplay the fact that anybody can get monkeypox, and that yes, currently most of the monkeypox cases in the United States are among a smaller population, but that doesn't mean that other people can't get it as well. So I do want to emphasize that as well. But let me share with y'all. And and Marwan, I think you asked me another question. So it was, if we're gonna have a dashboard, how many people? Marwan, did I miss any of your questions?
No, you did not.
Jessica, one other question. Recently, we've been hearing that a lot of the disease tracking is being done through research and wastewater treatment facilities. Is that being done here in Kitsap County?
Oh, do you mean for COVID or for monkeypox?
Well, actually, for all. There was a report coming out last week that polio is on the rise, and they discovered this through sewage treatment plants and gray water and wastewater in municipalities. And they also were tracking COVID the same way, and they can track monkeypox the same way through human waste. So I was just wondering if that was being done here in Kitsap County in the various wastewater treatment facilities, so that we would have some idea of where and what's happening. A lot of times they can find a population who's going to be at risk before the actual cases show up.
Really good question, Mark. And, for COVID, I haven't heard of that happening, for COVID in particular. I'd have to double check with our environmental health division, because I forgot what percentage of Kitsap County residents, have septic systems versus are on sewage systems. So I can definitely get back to you on that. I have not heard about that though for monkeypox. So I think for us, typically we hear about it through we've heard, and we will hear about them through healthcare providers. But I can definitely double check about the sewage system, because I do remember seeing an article about that regarding COVID about a year or two ago. But I have not heard about that with monkeypox and other diseases.
There's a fairly recent.
So I can definitely.
There's a series of recent articles about it, especially around polio and a resurgence of polio. Mm-hmm. But they were also talking about other diseases they've been tracking, so that they know it's coming before you start seeing active cases, and they have a little bit more time to prep. I just think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, I was never looking at that. And oh my goodness, Joe, look at this. So according to the State Department of Health, we're up to 4 cases. So I had talked to someone about an hour ago. They said 3. So I will have to double check on this, but it looks like we have potentially an additional case. As of this morning, I thought we had 3 cases. So definitely more to come, but this is on the State Department of Health's website, and I will go ahead and put this link. So if y'all are interested in seeing the numbers there.
Yes, please.
I'll put that there as well. Yeah, and and Christy, seeing your comment, something it also reminded me. I think the last time, Marwan, you talked with our health officer, Dr. Gib Morrow, he had talked about our public health board. So some of you may know that our public health board is the health district's governing body, and currently the board consists of all of our city mayors, our representatives from city government, and then also all of our county commissioners. But due to a state law that passed last year, we have to change the composition of our public health board. And earlier this year, we recruited for 3 non-elected positions, one for a public health or healthcare provider, one for a community stakeholder, and then another for someone who is a consumer public health services. Interviews were done, I think, last month and the month before that. From what I understand, we've got some really great candidates and I believe at the next board meeting, which is going to happen on Tuesday the 6th, and I can put in the chat box where you can get information about that. I believe there's going to be a recommendation made to the public health board, but the ultimate decision for who gets selected is among the county commissioners. So hopefully we'll hear more from that. But also, we have 2 positions as well for our 2 neighboring tribes, so the Suquamish tribe and the Port Gamble-Squalin tribe as well. So definitely more to come on that. I'm really excited about that. And Marwan, I really appreciate you also giving us the space to talk about that position. From what I've heard, we had a really good response rate for people who were interested, and I was really excited about that. I mean, there were some names that I recognized, and yeah, it was awesome. I think we pushed really hard. The fact also that we, even though we had materials translated into Spanish, I don't think we had any applicants who spoke Spanish primarily, but I was really excited. I was really excited about the interest that we got about it, but then also just how community shared information about it. It was really, really incredible. And then I think the last thing I'll share is that we're going to be out in the community. This is why I'm also excited about hiring a community engagement specialist, but we are trying to get out more in terms of, going to fairs and things like that. And we're going to be at the Under One Sun Islander Festival. And I think, Marwan, you may have shared information about this on your Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll be there too.
But I'll post a link. Yeah, it's going to be so exciting. We weren't there last year, but we'll have our COVID team, and they're going to be there not to provide vaccination, but to answer any questions that people have, especially considering we may see, new COVID boosters available in September.
Really?
So we'll have some folks there to answer questions. Yeah, but I haven't heard anything more recently, but hopefully we'll hear more news pretty soon about that. But they can also answer questions about COVID treatment. I think they'll have some free COVID test kits there and masks. And then I'll be there to share some information, and I'm going to have some giveaways as well. And then also Kayla with our Strange Services program will have some naloxone there too. So
Jessica,
we're going to be at Under One Sun.
Could I ask, is the potential booster going to be based on the new variant or on the old variant?
That's a good question, Ron. From what I understood, it was supposed to be a more recent variant. I'm just not sure which one, but more recent than the one that we currently have in the vaccine that's currently available, if that makes sense. But I'm not sure what strain, and I'd have to double check which strain that this new vaccine is going to be for. It's a really great question.
Yeah, that was something that I was concerned about, because I have, what is the word for, I have a compromised immune system, but you would say people that are at high risk. So as we're going into fall, flu season and whatnot, it's like, so do I get a booster? And is the booster based on, the old variant, which I can't even remember what we're on now, or based on what it is currently now, and is it effective? So those are questions that I'm kind of grappling with right now myself.
Thank you for those questions, Marwan. So I'll definitely pass those on to our communications coordinator so we can look at addressing those, because they're really good questions. And I mean, I know I'm also curious about, does that mean that the vaccine for previous strains is no longer going to be available? How is that going to work? It's a really great question. Another event that we're going to be a part of, and Marwan, I don't know if you're going to have Okoye and Marquita on your show, but they are the founders of the 9/11 Sacrifice of Service, or SOS event.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be also on September 11th. It's going to start at 9:11 a.m. There's going to be a whole bunch of different organizations there, and then we'll have our preparedness team, one of our team members there as well. So really excited to support that event. I think this is the 7th year now, and I'll post a link to that event also in the chat box.
Oh,
yeah, Marwan, I think that's what I've got. But would definitely love to, if folks have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll also put my contact information in the chat box.
Yeah, that is huge. Thank you so much. Does anyone have questions for Jessica that either she can answer or take back and find the answer to? There's a lot going on in the health world right now. I know one other thing that I had, Jessica, was they, I'm subscribed to get text alerts for things that are happening in the county. In respect of, hey, we got folks coming in. Come on in. If you want to grab some breakfast, you can grab it on the other side and just bring your plate, and then come sit on in the front. Um, but the tide waters, like, don't go in the water because of red tide or whatever is going on. Is there information that you can share there, or maybe reshare your screen where people can go, um, so we know when we should or when we shouldn't?
Yeah, definitely. Let me go ahead and do that.
And while you're doing that, how do people sign up for those text alerts? Because I find those pretty helpful.
Yes, and I'll show you on our website. We have a link, and we also have, we've got a whole bunch of different listservs. So let's see here. So here you are. This is kitsappublichealth.org. Here you have, if you scroll down, I believe there is, oh, here we go. So I don't know if you can see Marwan, but on the bottom left, the very last option is sign up for notifications.
I see it.
So if you click on that, that should be it. And this list actually needs, it says, so this is also where, if anyone's interested in getting notifications about the Public Health Board meeting, kind of what the agendas are, I personally find them fascinating. It's not just because I work for the health district and that impacts like my work directly, but the health board talks about a variety of topics. And so if you sign up to our listserv, you can actually get the agenda, in your inbox. Also, if you want to get updates on any sort of like swimming beach closures, we also do a respiratory illness report as well. And there's a monkeypox one. So anyway, you click on continue to subscribe. I'm just going to hand here and just put my email address in here. Although I think I'm subscribed to everything.
Thanks for going over that, because I signed up for that so long ago that I don't even remember now. If you find folks would sit up in the front so folks can see you on the camera, that'd be great.
And
Yeah.
you'll see here though that
I mean, you
that
can even talk at the same time.
Is that the sign-up system is actually for the whole county. So also, I mean, if you're interested, I'll also put a plug in for some other ones. I mean, you can see all the groups that I'm signed up for, because I live in District 1. There we go. We have to scroll all the way down. And if you look at public health, also if you're interested in emergency management, I don't know why I undid that. But anyway, human services are listed there. So public health all the way further down. So here we go. So Kitsap Public Health District. So here are all the different ones. Spa operators, all our different lists. Long Lake, COVID. My goodness, there's so many. Oh, and I better sign up for monkeypox myself.
Oh,
so there we
nice.
go. So the monkeypox dates, right down there as well. Yeah. So please, there's a lot in there, and then there's also other things too. But I'm going to go there. But yeah, that's the best way to get updates from the health district. And then also, if any of you see social media, the health district does have a Facebook page. We're on Instagram and Twitter as well.
All right. For those that just walked in the room, you are listening to Jessica Guidry from Kitsap Public Health District. Do you have any questions for her in regards to COVID, boosters, monkeypox, anything like that?
The resignation of Anthony Fauci. What do you think about that, Jessica?
What? Okay, I learned it straight from you. Oh my goodness! I'll have to look that up. I didn't buy his bobblehead when it was popular, so maybe it'll be on sale now. Anyway, I didn't know that. No, was that news from today?
No, recently. Resignation, nothing dramatic. I think he just, it's just time, retirement maybe.
Yeah. Well, one thing I will say, during the pandemic, I mean, we did see a lot of resignations, I think, throughout the country for public health folks, just because of the stress of responding to a pandemic. But everyone felt a lot of stress. But I think in particular, we saw a lot of folks in public health leave because of things. But it sounds like with Dr. Fauci is more of a retirement. No, not to look it up and see what he's up to next.
All right. Any other questions for Ms. Guidry?
No, but I would like to say that I'm new here, so I didn't realize exactly what they mean by mics are on. So if I talked over you, I didn't mean to.
All right. Well, thank you so much for those updates, and I hope you can stick around for our discussion that's going to kick off here in a little bit. Christy, how are you?
I'm good.
All right. You want to tell us who you're with and give us a little synopsis and all that good stuff?
I'm just with me. I'm here as a community member, investing community member.
Nice. All right. Awesome. So glad that you can join us. And, you know, one day we'll definitely have to have some more events where you can attend in person and we can feed you. 'Cause
Yes.
we love feeding folks.
This is just during my work day, so
Yeah, I know
I
it
could
makes
just-
it makes it tough. So just to update folks, again, Jessica has provided a lot of information here in the chat. I'm just going to go back up to the top. And so you can see the monkeypox vaccination registration assistance, the Kitsap Public Health District main line here, 360-728-2235 for those that are driving and not watching because you're being safe. And some other links here for you, opiate awareness event, which is super important. And you can see that on Facebook, but there's one coming up on 8/31. So again, just a lot of great info here for you to access. So what I'd love to do is, you know, we have a lot of other people in the room. So, and some people are new. So let's do some short introductions. We'll start with Terry and Mark in the front. You know, maybe a little 30-second, you know, who you are, what's your organization, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Hi, I'm Terry Selman. I am the financial wizard of Resilient Ecosystems. And yeah, I basically make sure it's running okay financially.
She also keeps the founder in line. So my name is Mark Boatwright Frost. I'm the executive director of Resilient Ecosystems. Our organization is driving the Kitsap Resiliency Project until the county folks come together and form a leadership team and we can hand it off. Our whole goal is to create resilient communities here in Kitsap County.
And I'm Joe Walter, and I live in Bremerton, and I'm here as a general community member, but particularly to celebrate that the Bremerton Housing Equity Advocates Group, which is a very short-lived group, and it only got started a few months ago, has just joined G2 as the housing department to support the work of lots of people.
Whoop, whoop. Awesome.
Hello, my name's Sean McCarran. I'm a worker and I'm a member of the IWW, which stands for the Industrial Workers of the World. We're a union focused on agitation, education, and organization to allow workers to get more democratic control of their workplace. And in line with that, we help out with things like housing, drugs, whatever comes up in the community, and however we can help out, we try and provide bodies.
You mean you help out with drugs?
Help out with the drug problem.
Oh, here you can look forward. You can look back. The camera's here if you want to talk into the camera.
My name is Wendy Ryerson, and I was homeless a year and a half ago, and I am here just to give insight of what homelessness is like. So, and kind of a voice for the people out on Martin Luther King Way. I'm down there pretty much every day, picking up garbage or bringing clothes or whatever I can do. So.
Awesome. Thank you for coming.
Jeff Campbell, data analyst, Bremerton resident. I live on Martin Luther King Way and very concerned about. I think we can move our neighborhood around down there, and I think that as a community, I think we have all the tools to move that little microcosm of the city forward from where it is right now. And my neighbors and I would love that. We'd love to have a neighborhood where trash is picked up and where there's places to go to the bathroom. Thank you.
All right. So I am Marwan Cameron, as everyone knows. And what I would like to do is have a discussion. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of roll out what our intention is here today and for next week. I'll come into the camera so folks can see me. So just to be brief, we have been participating in the city council meetings every other week as they are there. And when we've had an opportunity to give our 3-minute responses, that is what we've done. And right now, our eye is on the folks that are on ML King and advocating for them. And so some of the things that we're advocating for are for dumpsters, bathrooms, showers, and just overall, humanity, right? Which needs to happen. And what we wanted to do was do something a little bit different. This is a hard thing to solve. Homelessness is not unique to Kitsap County. This is countywide, statewide, national, and international, right? This is a global issue. And so there isn't a magic bullet or a panacea that is going to fix it. But what can begin to find solutions is everyone working together. And so we can point fingers at the county, or we can point fingers at our local politicians, or we can point fingers at the people that are experiencing homelessness themselves, right? But that isn't going to get us anywhere. What we need to do is come together, as Mark says, we the people, and begin to dialogue together, right? And see if we can't start to move the needle in a really fundamental way, very tangible way, that maybe doesn't end homelessness, but it starts to begin to just do a lot more than what's been happening. And so in that, we've been covering the city council meetings, as I said before. The mayor did respond, and several of the city council members responded, and were interested in having dialogue. And what's different this time, hopefully, is the mayor and city council have relationships with, let's say, the Salvation Army and some other organizations that they work and they talk with. But everybody isn't at the table. So my hope is that we get everyone to the table to tackle this. So that is, the Salvation Army, Diamond Parking, the Marvin Williams Center, all the organizations that are passionate about trying to help folks that are there. Most importantly, the voice of those impacted on ML King, right? Because so often their voices, they're never in the room. And when these decisions and conversations are happening, right, which is about them. So this is an opportunity for us to do something different and say, hey, all right, we're going to come into a room. What's been done? What doesn't work? What has worked? What can we build synergies on? And how can we start to provide these services that these folks need and move the needle toward everyone being housed, which is what we need to do, right? And there's so many huge challenges, as we know, but we want to do something different. And that something different is actually coming together. And again, like I said, not pointing the finger at each other, but trying to find solution, being solution oriented. To that end, we had Kirsten Jewell on a couple weeks ago. And there have been some things that have been done in different places. So she spoke about porta potties out at Veterans Park. And one of the issues there was the porta potty was burnt down, and many of the needles were being put in the garbage, and the company that services those porta potties didn't want to service it, right? And so what could we do differently so that we can ensure that porta potties can be made available for folks on ML King? What would that look like? What would we have to do to solve that issue and overcome it so that we can get to a yes and not a no, we tried that already, right? So is that a needle receptacle inside the porta potty? right? Where folks, if they have access, then they can put their needles in there, right? As far as burning it down, I know that there are several folks that are down there that would watch over the bathroom to ensure that it wasn't burnt down, right? Partnership, communication. It's a different way of looking at things. The dumpster, Kirsten shared that at the RV park out in Silverdale, there was a dumpster that was put out there. And unfortunately, other residents in the county would drive by and dump their couches and other stuff into the garbage. And then who gets the blame for it? The folks that are experiencing homelessness, right? And then it's not dumped. So what would need to happen there, right? Do we, put a camera down there? Do we have someone to watch over it? So if a truck pulls up and it dumps it, right? Well, there's your license plate. You're going to pay a fine, buddy. And so what do we need to do? And so there are some ways that we could address these issues. And so let's dialogue. Let's talk. Hey, how you doing? If you want to grab some breakfast on the other side and then come on down. And if I can move people to the front so you can kind of be seen, it's super open here. And we'll take this. And so what I would like to do is this. With our time, we'll have Mark Garrett is running a little bit late. He'll be here at 1. And that is the director of housing, which is awesome. And so, yeah, let's come on down. Get a little closer. Don't be shy. Get a little closer with Air Red Extra Dry. Am I dating myself there?
Yes, you are.
I'm older than I look.
Wait, we're just at
We're going
concert,
to do
Marwan?
plop, plop, fizz,
You
fizz
should have told
next?
people more people to be able to make it.
Go ahead, say that again, Jessica.
If people knew that there was going to be a concert, I'm sure people would have rearranged their schedules to come on.
I'll be here all day. Doobie doobie doo.
Try the veal.
So for those of you that are in Zoom land, if you have a piece of paper and something to take notes on, the challenge is this. When we all come together next month for the breakfast, this is going to be very different. So if you've been in this space before, on the other side of in another room is where we have the pancake breakfast, but there are going to be so many people here next month that we're going to flip it. So we're going to make the pancakes here in this space, and then we have the 2 rooms on the other side to accommodate everyone. And so the proposal is this, to have folks come in like the mayor or city council, those experiencing homelessness, and talk about what's been done, what doesn't work, and what does work, right? So we don't need to spend time on, hi, my name is Marwan, and I'm the executive director, yada, yada. We don't have time for that, right? We already know who each other is. Let's get out there so we have a common knowledge base on what's been tried, what's been done. Then I'd like to break us up into groups where we have representation from everyone and then start to tackle these issues, right? So again, Diamond Parking, Salvation Army, Marvin Williams Center, those experiencing homelessness, Bremerton Police Department. Have all these voices here and then start to work through these solutions and see what we can do. Kirsten Jewell from the county said that there may be potential funds to start a pilot program. But we got to create the pilot program. What does it look like? And so by working through it with everyone at the table, then we know what can be done, what can't be done, what the challenges are, right? A dumpster can't be on Diamond Parking's parking lot because it's private property, right? The city can't dump that garbage. Hey, how you doing? Come on in. Can't dump the garbage if it's not on city property. Well, city property is just the sidewalk and the grass in between. So what's the compromise? What's the workaround, right? These are the things that we can talk about and see what these solutions are. And it's a pilot. You try something, and if that doesn't work, you try something else. But the thing that we haven't tried is everybody at the room at the same time having this conversation.
All right, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I've heard the people you mentioned, the political arm, the bureaucratic arm, the people who have experienced homelessness in their voices. It seems to me that there's somebody else that needs to be at the table, which is PCHS.
Yes, I was just going to suggest.
Yes, I'm sorry. I did not give an exhaustive list.
No, I'm
So-
just putting that on the
Yes.
list.
We
Please?
can work on that today.
Yes, we can work on that today. Yes, yes.
And that started from the needle conversation,
Okay,
because
so
needles are biohazard, and so therefore that was
we
the
got it. So let's start there. That's perfect. You've given us our first prompt. So why don't we all create?
Shannon.
Okay.
Who's in charge of that stuff? Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's go ahead and create a list of everyone that should be at the table. Okay, and so we can open dialogue.
I'll keep.
You want to write it down? All right. So Joe is going to capture
So-
that. So just who should be at the table? Let's list it.
So let's talk about who we know are going to be there. We have Bremerton Housing Authority, the Kitsap Community Resources, I'm assuming.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's just make an exhaustive
Okay,
list,
so
whether they've committed or not.
Bremerton Housing Authority, Kitsap Community Resources.
Let's talk about people
Jill?
we have relationships with.
Jill, she's been here several times. Matt from CR.
Hold on. These folks have a list that's kind of started.
Yeah,
And this,
and they've been here before. So
and
Matt Garrett,
has already said-
PCHS, and she was saying Shannon Turner on PCHS. And we've had someone from operations on PCHS at one of the meetings as well.
How about Kids at Public Health? With Kids at Public Health, should they be at the table?
I would think so.
Jessica, what do you think about that? Right?
Yeah,
Mark,
and-
I'm
and
going to ask
thinking-
you, because you're holding the mic.
Marwan, also inviting our
Melanie?
solid and hazardous waste program. One of our solid and hazardous waste managers, Steve Brown, is part of what was the team? The Heart team. I don't know if you're at the Housing and Homelessness Coalition. Actually, you were Marwan. That's the housing response team. So we're part of that. So I can definitely get the word out to Steve Brown, and I'll try to make it as well. And if there's
Excellent.
others,
Thank you.
I can run them up.
So, Mark, your job is to keep an eye on that, right?
Okay, so they get to, sorry that you get to see the
Mark.
back of my head.
Do less talking, encourage everyone else to talk. Like, see, I have to admit
All
someone,
right.
so I won't see that.
So, Christy, who do you think we should have? Christy?
It's not already on the list.
Yeah, we're working on the list. So let's brainstorm that list a bit.
I already agreed to invite Laomi Preciado.
Excellent. So we
And our, of course, our BHEA people.
okay.
Do you want to describe Laomi's, why she's a stakeholder in this?
I can't hear you, Joe.
Hold on.
You want to describe, Christy, why Laomi is a stakeholder in this?
Yeah, she is formerly homeless, and she's a certified peer counselor at KMH, and she's a person of color and part of the LGBTQ community.
And a really smart person.
Yes, and very involved in the community. She ran for county commissioner.
And if you can't see, Mike put down that she's a boss. So, yeah. Anyone else from KMH though?
Yeah, that would be the next question. KMH should be represented, but they're so broad. Does anybody have a particular person? Matt, not for
Well, I
Kitsap
wonder
Mental Health?
about people from the Pendleton
Yeah,
House.
KMH.
I wonder about people from the Pendleton House because I keep hearing that there's still beds there that are not being occupied. And maybe we need more information about, could some of our neighbors be moved into those beds potentially, or what is the criteria?
I had heard that there was a waiting list, and my friend, she said she's at the top of the list. But I know you do have to have a background check, fingerprinted. I mean, it's quite
So
a
it's lots of
criteria.
barriers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Christy.
That's what I was afraid of.
Christy, for this list, who's the contact person that I should be aiming at Covenant?
Pendleton.
Oh, Pendleton. Oh, I know one.
She used,
Lori.
she used to be the mayor, wasn't it? The lady that in charge here? She used to be the mayor.
Patty Lent.
Please use your microphone so folks can hear you in the
Yeah,
Zoom.
Thank you. I think that's Wendy talking
No,
about.
just
I can't
after
hear
have it
Okay.
aimed at your mouth.
Okay. Well,
I guess I'm trying to think of who do we have relationships with that
Oh,
when we make an
I don't know. It's so
invitation,
new.
they'll respond.
I don't think Patty has anything to do with Pendleton House. I would have heard if she did.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just moved in there. Sorry.
Kenneth?
Well, what about inviting the new executive
Yeah, does she-
director,
I think they're going to
Monica
know,
Bernhardt?
what the criteria is to get in and how they get in.
Oh, I'm
And stuff.
sorry for this.
Yeah, we're just building.
Yeah.
I think Wendy's talking, but I can't hear.
So let's reel back for just a second. We started with KMH. A person from KMH that should be there because they deal extensively with homeless community, and that went to Pendleton House because KMH is running Pendleton House. But is that the only or part of KMH that we want to have there? Because there's the triage and crisis center there. There's a whole KMH is a whole lot of things.
So, Mark, if you invite Monica, the executive director, I mean, she may be able to, bring others with her.
Jessica,
So she was-
Monica is
we were
the
speaking
executive
about
director
the-
of where?
KMH? No.
KMH?
Yeah,
Okay.
KMH.
You know how Joe Rozak retired? Monica is now the new executive director of KMH.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But,
All
but
right.
we were talking about actually some residents of Pendleton Place. There's a number of them, I think, actually, that would be great to have on this in this group.
That'd be great.
So
We talked
Jeff,
previously about
Yeah.
Sally's, somebody from Sally's
Wendy's not-
and the police
Okay.
department.
well, just let me finish up with Jeff here. Can you provide a list of those people
Well, I
and
think
get it
this-
to Joe?
Yeah, this may get it. Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any youth homeless groups? Because they should be invited.
Like Coffee
The
Oasis.
Oasis.
All right. That sounds good.
They should be involved just in general.
Individual to contact at Coffee Oasis.
Well, we can figure that out. We don't know who it is.
Actually,
I'm always trying to
I'll
check
get
and
I will
see
get that to
who
you
it
because
is
I've
who
got
has
the
people
contact
that they know.
information from that. I have a business card. It's certainly from Coffee Oasis and the people that run it.
Well, here's what's great. If there's an opportunity to physically go and knock on the door, hi, I'm Marwan. Like to get to know you in person. That would be pretty impactful. We do have some new people that came in the room, so I'd love to have them introduce themselves. The microphone is there in front of you.
My name is Courtney Love, and I am a Tacoma Pierce County resident. And I was homeless for 16 months, and I've been housed for 2 months. This is my child, Philip, and we're here to engage in the discussion. And I know I'm an out-of-towner, but what I'm hoping to do is cultivate local people to participate with the Washington State Lived Experience Coalition and spread it that way so that it'll always be local voices speaking for local issues.
Yeah, can we give her a round of applause?
So
And what's important about that is Courtney is from Tacoma and is passionate enough to come all the way out here to help support Kitsap County. That's phenomenal. That's huge.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Jeff, Sean, and Marwan. Thank you so much.
You're very
Appreciate
welcome. Thank you for joining the discussion. All right, who's next?
Oh, this is my child, my son, Philip. I don't want to. Hello.
Hey, Miss Deborah.
Hi, I'm Deborah Moore Jackson with Surviving Change and Hope 360. Thank you.
And you got your fierce hat on today.
My name is Ellery Briscoe. Well, this is a good place to start. I don't know a lot about what you're doing, but I have been homeless and I've lived in my car. So I know what it means and feels to be without and to be within four walls.
Thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely. Did we get everyone? All right. All right. So back to our list, Joe.
What about Keisha?
Hey, Marwan.
Keisha.
There's some suggestions in the chat too, so I don't know if anybody's monitoring the chat.
Yeah, I'll jump in there as soon as Mr. Keyshawn introduces himself. Get closer to the camera there, young man.
My name is Keyshawn Hamilton. I've been with G2 for a long time. I like to help Marwan out, so I'm here to learn more about this because I was here last time for this. Was pretty interested in it, and I'm just trying to learn more about the community. Still learning more about the community, and I'm just glad to be here.
All right. Thank you, Keyshawn.
So Back to the list. I don't want to forget Kirsten Joel.
Yeah.
She needs to be on that list as well.
All right, so there were some suggestions here in the chat, so let me go ahead and pull those up here.
Ah.
Can you see this? Okay.
All right, Marwan, thanks for highlighting the need to have voices of our neighbors on MLK Way, included in the discussion. The basic principle of equity is nothing about me without me, meaning no discussions, planning, or decisions are made without the people affected being involved. And she's a boss. How about a representative for the people we are trying to help? Is Shannon Turner in KMH, or am I thinking of another organization? I think Shannon Turner is PCHS, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, and that was the next answer there. He's Medical Operations Manager. I think that is his title. Shannon is a great person, inspirational and super intelligent. The issue doesn't end at the end of the Kitsap County border. Welcome. Bridget Glasspool from Kitsap Mental Health has attended the Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition, which there are a lot of agencies and folks there that we can ping to join for next month. And then Anika Turner from Kitsap Immigration Assistance Center. Absolutely. So Joe, if you will capture those. Anyone else that we should have on that list?
Kimmy Siebens.
Kimmy Sibbins, absolutely.
Are there any local tribal organizations? I don't know this area well enough.
Not really closely tied to Bremer.
Okay.
All right.
Worth an invite, but
Do we feel like we have a pretty good list there?
I was just thinking waste management.
Oh, yeah.
Diamond Parking.
Okay, I think Diamond Parking, Waste Management is good.
Diamond Parking and Monica.
Oh, Monica's Bar.
How about this 7-Eleven?
Oh,
Randy.
okay.
Randy's the owner.
How about some of the renters that are in and around that area?
Well, the first house is for rent.
Marvin Williams.
Oh yeah, that would be good. And the lawyers that are in there, because I know they've been really upset with people who are sleeping down in below the stairwell on the backside.
Happy Teriyaki.
Wendy, did you say lawyers?
Yeah, there's a lawyer's office. Right behind. It has a little wall, behind the next to the White House, between Happy Teriyaki and the White House.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I believe that is a set of lawyers in there, isn't it?
All right. Yeah.
Bremerton Police Department.
Yep. Deborah, who else is in your building? So Deborah's building is right across the street from Salvation Army.
And it's the Western Wheeler. It's still Diamond Parking and all of them.
Oh.
Yes.
So yes, I think they really need to be involved, and with the homelessness, because we had a meeting. All the businesses in the area, we had a meeting about all the feces, and excuse me, everyone, but things that are going around the building, the parking lots openly. And we had a meeting, and our city council representative for our area didn't even show up. And it was all the businesses in the area. So
Jeff Coughlin.
yes, correct. And he did not show. And
Say his name.
There's a plant
Jeff
shop, too.
Kaufman, you said?
The plant shop.
And so Heather came back, and she manages all Weston Wheeler, all their property management. She's the property manager there, and she was so furious. She goes, Deborah, I know you were busy with clients, but Jeff Coughlin, he didn't even show up for the meeting and the concerns of the businesses in that downtown area concerning homelessness and have to dealing with all the garbage, especially the feces, because our whole building, the back and the side, just smells just like feces.
Urine.
Yes.
I walked past it
Oh,
every day.
it's horrible.
It's terrible. It is.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Actually, Jeff should be on that list.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's
Go ahead,
already
Jeff.
said he's coming, hasn't he?
Yeah, Jeff will be there.
So I think
What,
it
Jeff
was an
Coughlin?
oversight. His
Oh, Jeff
heart
Coughlin. Yes, he did indicate that he was going to join. Hey, how you doing there, Matt?
In terms of tenants, yeah, I can hit. I'm in the South Court apartment, so we're neighbors.
Oh, okay.
And also, I'm thinking about the military. There's a lot of half our building's probably military now, so I'm thinking that might be a really good group to kind of get in there too. And they're all a great group of people who are like helping people and stuff. So.
And veterans, if you have a veterans group, because veterans are a very high count in the homeless population.
Absolutely.
Military,
That's
like,
great.
Which organization, who to go to?
Well, I'll just go to my neighbors and that live. I was just talking about the neighbors that live on Martin Luther King who work for the Navy. So Navy.
Oh, okay, great.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, not an organization, but neighbors.
Yeah, neighbors. Yeah.
All right. So we have another person that just walked in. Matt, you want to introduce yourself there quickly?
Yeah. Hey, sorry I'm late. My name is Matthew Garrett. I'm the Housing and Community Support Services Director at Kitsap Community Resources. So thanks for having me, Marwan.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming.
So, Joe, I think Matt's on the list.
Matt's already said he's coming.
You want to do it publicly for everybody?
No. So just to catch Matt up, what we're doing, Matt, is next month for the community breakfast, we're going to have a kind of a town hall and to try to address the issues that are happening on ML King. And what is different from what typically happens is, you've got pockets of organizations that might meet with city council. You have other folks that are working over here, but all of us are never in the same room at the same time. So we're going to flip this space here. We're going to make the pancakes in here and open up both rooms because it's going to be pretty full. So Kirsten, Jewel will be in attendance. 2 people from city council will be in attendance. I think the 2 folks that are running for Ed Wolf's seat will be in attendance. And of course, the most important folks are those experiencing homelessness down on ML King will be in attendance. So we're hoping to have Diamond Parking, Salvation Army, Marvin Williams Center, Bremerton Police Department, and just having all of the stakeholders there talking and not pointing the finger on, you didn't do this, you should have did this, you should have fixed this, but really being solution oriented. Here's what it is. What can we do going forward, right? Kirsten Jewell shared that there were porta potties down at Veterans Park, but it burnt down and needles were being put in the, down the toilet. So what could we do to successfully have porta potties in that area, right? And she said there may be some money for a pilot program if we can come up with that. But in order to do it, we all need to be at the table. And so that's what we're going to do at next month's breakfast. And today we're brainstorming who should be there, so we're as inclusive as possible, and then to make sure that we're moving forward and making the best use of our time, we're going to come up with some questions or some things that we want to tackle, and then we're going to break into working groups for like 30 minutes and kind of have representative samples in each group, folks experiencing homelessness, a city council person, a few of the organizations, and they'll brainstorm and come back, share back with the group, and then take that to the electeds and to Kirsten and see what we could do, what we could try, and see if we can't flip this thing on its head.
Sounds great. Love it.
Do you have anybody that you can think of off the top of your head that we may not have put on the list that isn't obvious to us?
I imagine you probably got the big players. Salvation Army, I'm sure they're invited, right? There would be a big one. Robin O'Grady from the Rescue Mission, I think she's a big player in shelter. And you have Kirsten Jewell, Kitsap Community Resources. I think from the agency-wide, that's a pretty good sample. Kitsap Mental Health might not be a bad idea as well. Bridget Glaspool is she runs Pountain Place, and she's comes to the meetings, the Kitsap Housing and Homeless Coalition meetings. So I think she's pretty plugged in. She used to run coordinated entry for us, so she's very familiar. And she was actually on the Outside Homeless Committee when that was a thing. So that there used to be a committee that the Housing and Homelessness Coalition had. It's called the Outside Homeless Committee, and they did similar work of kind of advocating, trying to figure out how can we actually support different programs for folks that were living outside, specifically in Bremerton, downtown Bremerton. So I think so there is some, like Kirsten said, there is some work that's trying to be done. It is difficult, right? For all types of reasons, but I love the energy and we're happy to support where we can. But but I think that's a good. I'm sure you have a list of the advocacy groups too that are. I think there was Marwan last time. There was some of the prayer walkers.
Yep.
I know they want to be involved. Are they invited?
Yep, Jocelyn. Yep,
Okay.
she's committed to being here next month.
Awesome. Yeah.
Probably like Food Not Bombs, Bailey, Island Hut.
Churches are doing street ministries. I know there are people down there that give out food, but I don't know.
What about David Stewart?
Yep, David Stewart would be a good one.
He should be one. David Stewart should be one of the BIPOC organizations that's down there dealing with the homeless, feeding them. And isn't it David Stewart?
Yeah, David Stewart. He's
David
having a
Stewart.
ribbon cutting because they're moving into a new building. But they were doing feeding down on Pacific, so we'll be there. So our next question.
New Day Ministries.
New Day
yes,
Ministry,
New
yeah.
Day Ministries.
They do a barbecue once a month also.
Yes.
Our
yes.
next question is in the chat.
Art
Oh, it's Spite.
Yeah,
Spite,
Reverend
yes.
Art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does.
And he's been doing it for many, many years before a lot of them were doing it.
That's good. Thanks, Deborah. How you doing, Deborah?
How you doing, Matt?
We're building a good clothing closet.
All right, so our
that's a
next
good
question
point.
is in the chat here, everyone. And there's a few other people they want to add. The YWCA of Kitsap County, Harriet Bryant is their executive director, and also Nicole Oberg, Salish tribe, and also Behavioral Health Housing Program. Housing Solutions probably would be one that should be on that list. And so this is our next question. So we're going to switch. I will put an email here in the chat. So if there are other people that should be at the table, one, you can invite them directly, but two, you can contact us if you want us to reach out to them. But the question is this. So with this extensive list, how do we make sure everyone is heard? How do we keep the discussion focused and pointed? So that is our next question to tackle, Joe. How do we do that? Thoughts?
We need a good facilitator. Is that you?
Yeah, well, yes, I will probably facilitate the event. Yes. Well, but that's not enough, right? So we got to go deeper to make sure that it stays on on topic. So what are some ways? Coming up with questions
About
might be
the
one of those
moderator?
ways. On Zoom land, looks like people were nodding their heads. You want to chime in there?
So Marwan, you might want
You're
to
on
have
mute, Jessica.
She's not muted. We can hear her.
Oh, can you? I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
We can now.
So if y'all were to have either index cards or post-it notes on the tables, and maybe even have like a thought wall, if that makes sense. I mean, 'cause you may have some folks who are more processors and may not feel comfortable speaking up really quickly, but that way, if people have thoughts, they can also put them on. Let's say if you have like a poster board or something, and then Marwan, you may want to go there. Oh, look, we have some notes over here. Let's take a look at that, if that makes sense. So that way, you're also accommodating people who are maybe more introverted or who may not have been able to speak up, if that makes sense.
I love it. Thank you.
Well, another thing you can go ahead and have also is that what I'm doing with the BIPOC community to bring us closer together, and we're having a healing circle. What we did was a monkey survey, and we have 5 to 7 questions that the team implemented, 7 questions, and you send those out to all the organizations that answer. Then you pull from there and you stay just on those topics. You know what I'm saying? And then we brought in mediators for that, and we're hosting that on September 17th. So, I mean, that's another way to stay on task, to stay on topics, and for you can just wrap it all around to just be focused in just those 5 to 7 questions, the conversation. So I don't know if that's a good idea, if you guys feel about that, and send out that survey and have them answer those questions. And then you know which direction you're going to focus in and stay on when you have the meeting.
Okay. So, and we can start coming up with some of those questions here in just a second. Deborah, are you using Kitsap Dispute Resolution Center for the mediation?
We went with China. We went with China, Cooper, and Daryl Thompson.
Are they with Dispute Resolution
Thomas, no, they have their own consulting. Daryl Thomas does.
Okay.
So we went with them.
I take it they're not free.
is any of them.
So I can. So
but they're willing to work with you.
Will you put that on the list? Either Kitsap Dispute Resolution Center or mediators, and we can look into that here in the next 30 days and see what we can do about that. I think that might be helpful, even if they're just in the breakout groups, helping to steer the conversation and make sure that the individual groups kind of stay on task. I think that might be beneficial. Go ahead, Mark. What were you going to say?
Here's a wild idea. We have a group of people here that are all committed and very interested in the outcome of this. What if we have people from this group dedicated to be facilitators in each of the breakout groups?
My only thought on that is that we all have a lot of biases and agendas, and I think that gets in the way. So I think we need to have someone pulled away from it.
But we don't have a lot of time, and we have committed people, and maybe if we work on keeping our biases out of it, we can help facilitate the discussions.
I think that would be more harmful than good, but that's my thought on that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Wendy.
I do agree with time. Fall is coming.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these people are banned from the Salvation Army. That means no food, bathroom, shower, clothes, nothing. Okay? So we need to find a place that we can house them. You know what I mean? Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it's going to start getting cold in a month.
So let's flip the page, Joe, and let's make a list of the issues, right? So Wendy is saying housing, right, as winter is coming, Game of Thrones. Food, bathrooms, showers, garbage. What else?
Laundry.
Social workers.
Social workers.
There's a desperate need for just a core group of social workers that I've been hearing more about.
No, what do you mean? Mental health or
case management?
Case management.
Maybe that's what I'm talking about. Because
Matt, can you speak to that at all? Would that be the HEART program? Is that something that HEART and maybe KCR can do? Are you guys already doing some of that? What's that look like?
Yeah, and actually, I heard there was Bremerton Connect. Somebody was telling me about, and I'm just learning about this now. There was a Connect program that was supposed to do that, and
Yeah, so there's a lot there. Let me try to give some summaries. So when people say Connect, they're usually referring to two things. So first is Project Connect, and then the second is Kitsap Connect. So Project Connect is the once a year big event that goes along with our point in time count. And that's where we try to incentivize folks to participate in the point in time count survey by bringing a bunch of resources all in one place, usually around the Salvation Army, but a few other sites around Kitsap. There's a lot of resources there, sleeping bags, food, a lot of agencies have booths. So that's Project Connect. What you were talking about, I believe, is Kitsap Connect, but people get those confused all the time. And it could be talking about, yeah, so that's Project Connect. Kitsap Connect was a program that was around for 3-4 years, and they were not funded. They were funded by the 1/10. They were not funded at the end of last funding cycle, so they haven't been around this past year. But they were a dedicated team that was designed to deal with some of the most high barrier and specifically high utilizers of emergency services. So that was a partnership originally with Kitsap Mental Health, Kitsap Community Resources, and Kitsap Public Health. And so there was 2 nurses, there was a project manager, we provided the case management, and then there was a mental health therapist from Kitsap Mental Health Services. That kind of morphed over the years, and it really was a really useful program. You are right, we need more case managers. The issue is this work with case managers is incredibly time intensive, right? So we have about 10 case managers right now that are working across various programs, not the Kitsap Connect program as that one has ended, but we have a lot of case managers, but we need more. So I think part of the issue is, yes, there's a lot of good case management work happening, but you are right. There is more people that could benefit from case management services that are that all the agencies together, right? Because Kitsap Rescue Mission does case management, Kitsap Mental Health does case management. It's not just us, right? There's a lot of folks that are doing really, really good work. So there is a lot of really good work going. At the end of Kitsap Connect, it kind of went two different places. So Peninsula Community Health, their Stand By Me program took some of that, but a lot of the clients kept with us. So we have a high barrier program that doesn't have as much resources, but serves about 40 clients that are extremely high barrier, mental health, substance use. And we have a mental health therapist. We don't have the nursing support, but we do have kind of a remnants of the Kitsap Connect program. And that's something we're really proud of, but it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And I think a lot of the clients that you're referring to could benefit from programs like this. But the downside, one of the critiques against Kitsap Connect of why they didn't get funded was because it's an expensive program and only serves a small number, right? It's a lot of resources for a small number. PACT does a little similar. That's through Kitsap Mental Health. They have less of a housing focus, but they do really, really good work with a lot of professionals. But that's some of the tension point. And that's some of the history of Kitsap Connect. So I guess, yes, we do need, but there is a lot of good work happening right now for sure through us and some of the various agencies for case management. Our global caseload right now is between about 120 and 150 clients, just households. So we serve more individuals if you include all the kids.
Joe, grab the mic there.
I am wanting to get some clarity around what we are doing in this group. My sense is that we're looking at the MLK block and those folks who are winter's coming, those folks. And I just want to check with is that what we're doing?
That is the focus.
I can feel us going broader than that.
No, that is the focus right now.
Yeah, except for that's pretty much there's at least 5 or 6 people down there who fit that description, and it's been that's a big part of the population down there, and so they're a big part of the needs. As he said, they're super high cost, high energy people. They're people that have a lot of disabilities. Mm-hmm. They're missing legs. They're missing. I mean, they just need so much that there's a lot of them in that area. So I don't know. I hear what you're saying, though. Maybe that's too broad for this particular conversation.
No, these are folks that are on ML King, right? We're trying to address everyone there. Go ahead.
And like I had mentioned before, my goal would be to buy that whole entire block. Those are all rental houses. Services are right there, Salvation Army. Peninsula will be having, in 2 more years, they'll be having the kind of a respite when you get out of the hospital, but yet not needing to go to a nursing home. You could stay there for 30 days for people who, won't be turned out right away to the streets when they normally would be.
Is that announced now that is how
that is what it is?
Will be used?
Yes. Okay. Oh yeah. They announced that a month ago. Yes. And I think that we already have, like I said, the Salvation Army there. We have Peninsula up the street. We have most everything that people need there. And if we could occupy those houses, raised bed gardens, have, a lot of things, we talked about recycling. I mean, my boyfriend and I recycle aluminum. For 200 pounds, you get $100. If we could have one downstairs be recycling and have these people who are out there who have the knowledge out there helping to remodel or being shown how to remodel this or how to build a raised bed. You know what I mean? And
I love it. Joe, can you put that on the dream list? In last week's show, I asked, was that last week or the week before? I asked Matt, Matt and Jill and Katie, if we had a realistic magic wand, what would we want to have happen, right? A realistic magic wand. And I think that's what you were saying, right? Would be to buy the...
Yes, and right now I know that the city has okayed with their attorney to go after John Hoffman's house. And that already has bedrooms up there with kitchenettes and toilets and everything. It's separate from the house. The house could be used to cook meals to begin with. You know what I mean? A community table, you know. The house behind 7-Eleven is for rent right now. We could rent that and have barbecues in the back for the ones who aren't getting fed breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So then the question would be: is one, what is the city's intention with John's property?
Along with dreams, I'm making a do list, which would be find out what are the city's plans and get them to write it down in a letter so that we can track it.
Got you. Okay.
My
that
thing
house.
is that we're sitting here
Mike,
talking about.
Deborah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My thing is we're sitting here talking about this, but we need to take the issues and concerns to City Council.
Deborah.
Oh, can you
That's
hear
what
me?
next month is for.
Oh, okay.
So this
All
is
right.
the prep. City Council will be here next
I was
month.
late, too.
So
Yes.
you weren't here yet. So
Oh, okay.
City
Yeah.
Council, you know, the folks that are taking over Ed Wolf's position or vying for it, they should be in attendance. Kirsten Jewell will be here. So we're inviting all stakeholders: Diamond Parking, Bremerton Police Department, Marvin Williams Center, Salvation Army, right? So everyone's going to be here next month. But when they get here, we can't have a planning session. We already have to know. So
Yes,
we
correct.
are the
I'm
ones
with
that
you.
are coming up with what are we going to talk about? What are the issues? So that is exactly what's going to happen.
Okay. Can we put on the list Drayton Jackson?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, he is. Okay. I didn't hear his name. Okay. Thank you.
At the same time, they announced that there were 4 other properties that they were going after. And so we found a new need is to make sure these people aren't displaced from their homes. See if we can help them stay in their home, because Lord knows we don't need more people out there being homeless.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you to clarify that a little bit? The city is going to be using. Are you saying eminent domain is going to be used for 4 other properties downtown? Okay.
It's I think 4 properties in Bremerton, and they've been marked for condemnation or nuisance actions by the city.
Okay.
So the thing to do is to follow the court dockets and
find out. Okay, it's.
And I'm working on that part.
I have to tell you that the minute that comes up, balloon alarms go off in my head about what are already planned for that. Because if they're moving ahead, they usually have plans for what's going to happen there afterwards. And so that's something we need to know. I kind of want to put a question on there for the city without being confrontational. I want to ask what their philosophical intent is and whether they're flexible in their intent toward creating areas where we can house those people with potentially some of the eminent domain land that they're talking
Who
about.
do you mean by ask the city? Ask the mayor?
The council.
Oh, hold on.
Council-
Michael is saying he can't hear anyone. So when you speak, please speak louder because the folks on Zoom and watching live can't hear us.
Okay.
So please.
Can you hear me, Michael? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I'm glad somebody else has the same problem with the camera that I do, trying to find where to. But yeah, to the city council and the mayor, because if they're using eminent domain to take over properties, I'd like to know without challenging them too heavily, I want to know what their intent is and whether they already have a pre-planned intent for that land or whether they're flexible in the way that we can possibly put that on the dream list of ways we can house people. So I'm trying to say this nicely.
All right, stop there. You did. You said it nicely. So stop while you're ahead, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to go down those roads.
Okay, can I make a correction?
Sure. That's what I was asking is.
You said those people. I was one of those people. They are my family.
I was too. So.
Yeah. So.
The people.
All right. So we're doing pretty good. I want to pull back. We've got some things on our dream list. Again, I will put the email out. So we do need to create these subcategories, the dream list. What do we do in the interim, right? Is in regards to bathroom or hygiene or whatever the case may be, right? We know that Drayton Jackson's Rejuvenation Center is going to open up, but that's permitting and, that may be a year and a half off. So what is the stopgap until that opens, right?
Hey,
So that
Marwan.
is just on the other side of the Warren Avenue Bridge, kind of next to what is that? SARS grocery store.
Oh, that little community building there?
Yeah, that's going to be a day center. But they have some permitting and things that they need to do before it opens up. And so when it does open, then folks can be there, right? And they're going to have TVs. Right now, the top floor is open. So DSHS is there on Thursdays. WorkSource comes in. And so service providers will be at that location. So folks don't just have to sit outside waiting for the next meal at Salvation Army, right?
Well, that's a walk, unless they have bus passes.
Well, and that's one of the things, right? So, right. So those are things that are being talked about now, either having bus tokens or having a shuttle.
So
that
we
goes
should have
back and
Kids Have
forth.
Transit on that list, correct?
Kids Have Transit should be on that list. Excellent.
So,
Yes.
are you talking about the American Filipino Center?
No.
Okay.
No. This is the Foundation for Homeless and Housing Management. Poverty management. It's a mouthful.
I'm just not familiar with it. That's
Yeah,
all.
it's a what they're not. Well, I'll call them a new organization, but they purchased a really large building to address particularly this need
Is
here.
that the yellow building?
Hey, Marwan.
Building is
It may be like a beige. It was a dental office, a huge dental office, 2 floors.
I went there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right next to the gas and let everybody see it.
Yes, we can.
Everybody wants to know where it is.
I know.
Michael, would you mind bringing that up? If you just Google say the Michael's like, what? Say the name, Matt, so he can get the accurate name.
It's the Foundation for Homeless and Poverty Management.
Thank you.
Yeah, Drayton Jackson, but Diana Sullivan are running that operation. They're doing really exciting stuff. I believe they are doing not just the providers, but they're doing case management upstairs already. So they're kind of half open, and then the day center, though, I think that's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah,
Permit.
the day
Yeah,
center.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Hey, Marwan. Marwan.
Somebody said Marwan.
She's talking through Zoom.
Oh, through
It's
Zoom. Yes,
Christy,
I'm listening.
Trying to get your attention. I'm gonna have to leave soon. I got to get back to work. So the city council meeting tonight, I'm happy to speak at that. Do you have like a message you want us to hit?
It's a study session tonight, Christy.
Oh, a study session?
Yes.
So no public comment.
I thought last week was study session. No?
I think Christy might be right. I think last week was a study session. Joe, you remember we all spoke.
I spoke
Was that
at
2
last
weeks ago?
week's, so I don't think it was a study session.
Okay. I'm off schedule. Okay.
So which one is it? Because I'm confused. Is it study session or regular meeting?
Tonight should be study session. I can look that up too. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, would you look it up before I go? Because if we want to do a unified message at the next one.
Yes. And thank you for bringing that up, Christy. What I'll do is I'll send out an email. If it is indeed a study session tonight, I'll send out an email before this weekend so we can brainstorm so we're speaking in a collective voice, right? There are power
Okay, that'd be perfect.
in numbers.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you
I
for
gotta
joining
go.
us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Nice meeting you.
Oh, I got to admit somebody.
Shut up, girl.
Hey, Joe, do we have the food bank on the list?
And Food Not Bombs is not on this list.
Yeah.
I'm saying things that people who are on the list because this is a continuation of a list that's been in development for a while. So Food Not Bombs is, and I'm going to add it to this one.
And then the kids have, what's the thing called again?
Tonight is a study session.
Yeah, Food Line.
But their Salvation Army has thought
You're down.
and that will eventually be a food bank. So, yeah. That's why I was buying the whole block that he.
I don't know if I'm completely off base here, but what about St. Vincent de Paul? Should they be involved at all, or it's along the lines of helping homeless?
They give vouchers for clothes and all kinds of things. They have the Stella Maris house. I helped with the very first community garden out there, and so yeah.
I mean, we could if you're open to anyone wanting to come, we could send it out to the Housing Coalition list. I mean, that's going to include everyone. That's going to include all the shelters, all the folks that are doing service provisions. So we can easily blast that out if we just inviting anybody to come.
Yes, please. And that's why I keep going back to who knows people, because you can send out an email to a whole bunch of people. But if you know somebody, you can call up and say, here's exactly what we're doing and why I would like you to come.
And maybe Eagle Wings and Homes of Compassion.
So this is Michael Aki speaking on Zoom. I don't know if everybody can hear me.
We can.
Okay. My issue with sending it to the entire KHHC email is this is a Bremerton specific issue that the specific issue we are trying to tackle is MLK in Bremerton. It doesn't concern the ones that the fish line helps primarily Poulsbo, and there's all these area specific organizations in that. So I would venture to say our scope needs to be a little bit narrowed to the people, to the organizations that have the ability to affect change in Bremerton.
Thank you, Michael. This is Joe. I agree to stay focused, but I wouldn't say no to Matt's offer to use the email list and just send it out. And anybody who feels moved to participate in this solution finding
as
mission
long as
can
they
join us.
understand that our specific
We'll make it clear what they're invited to.
Let's welcome in R. Adamson. If you would like to come off mute, just let us know who you are, and thank you for joining us.
Catholic Community Services, the HEN program.
Thank you. Regina, you've just been invited to introduce yourself. Did you want to unmute?
Yes, thank you for having me join you today. I'm here at the Kitsap County Fair for the Standing Up for Drug Abuse Resistance Education group. So I appreciate your guys' service. I'm trying to bring the Seattle's ambassadorship program to Kitsap so we can work on the helping those in need in the streets as well as keeping it clean. So thank you folks for attending today.
Thank you so much, Regina. And Michael has just shared his screen for the Foundation for Homeless and Poverty Management. Is there a map up there, Michael?
I did not see anything. The website looks like it's still a little under construction. It looks very preliminary.
You see an address on the website?
There's a contact us through social media, a phone number, but no address that I can see.
Let's see.
About us.
It is, I've seen it before. It wasn't in the contact us there?
Was not, and the about us seems to be a dead link.
If you go to Google Maps and you find the intersection of, is it Sylvan and Kitsap Way?
No, that's too far. They're closer to Sheridan.
Okay, so Sheridan, and then Marwan can help us find it once you're there in that neighborhood.
Hey, here's Sheridan.
Sheridan and Wheaton.
That's right here.
Yeah, you see that turnoff right below. So if you turn on Sheridan, then you make that right onto Old Wheaton Way.
Can you go to Satellite?
It's right behind the cannon.
Yep, it's right behind that cannon. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So here, this is SARS.
Okay, so come to the other side of Sheridan. See that building, that green building?
Yep, right there. Bingo.
That's it right there. That is it.
I know where that is.
So it's a huge facility.
Will they have showers and stuff there?
I believe they are working on that. Yes.
Because I know the Lord's table used to do that before. I'm sorry. The Lord's table on Saturday. What's that? Lord's Diner. Sorry. On Saturdays, would have a meal, and this was pre-COVID when nobody was open on the weekends for a day room because there was nothing, you know. So I don't know if that's an option to use temporarily until they get their showers going.
Well, it feels like these are the questions that we're generating because what are we trying to do? We're trying to address the immediate needs of those people who are banned from Sally's, right?
That's right.
And we know that this is coming up, but we want to get clear on
Sure.
exactly what will be offered there.
Okay, I have to tell another thing. There was a gentleman, his name is Pops. He was banned from the Salvation Army. This was a couple weeks ago. I called an ambulance for him because he had feces running down his pants. He was shivering cold and it was hot out. So we stood and waited for the ambulance to come, and a policeman drove by and drove back the other way. After about 10 minutes, I called again, and the 911 operator said, "Oh, well, the officer that spoke to you said you refused service." I said, "Officer that talked to us? What are you talking about?" I said, "There was one that drove by." She goes, "Well, he said he stopped, and you guys said you didn't want service." And I said, "That is not so. This man has congestive heart failure. He also has a pacemaker that has needed a battery for over a year. So I don't know what's going on. If they are interceding in calls from that area or what, but I'm still pretty upset about that."
Were you able to capture that, Joe, as a question?
Well, that's what is our question and who are we asking it to regarding that incident?
Could be case managers, Peninsula Health Services.
I would go to the 911 operator and get a copy of the phone call and find out which officer it was.
Okay. So that could be another one. I think that might be in all of the above. I think it's just going to take some research and investigative running it down.
And another woman asked me today, "How do I get a Obama phone? I can't use the Salvation Army as my address."
You got to use
Sorry. She wanted to know how she could get an Obama phone. And I said, well, you know, Sally's usually has the application for that. And she says, "Well, I can't go in there." And I said, "Okay, well, that's a good question. I know if you have valid ID, you can get your mail at the post office using the, you know, the Bremerton post office, and they'll give you your mail. But how did they get the application?"
So let's circle back because I think that's a great question. And as we kind of come to the end here, what are our identified needs for the need solutions, right? Case management for resources, medical and things like the Obama phone and whatnot, restrooms, showers, food. So tell us this, Wendy, for those that are kicked out of Salvation Army, they can't eat in there, right? Okay. So food.
Do we know, this is just my question, how many people are on that list? How many people are on that list? I've heard various kinds of numbers, and I've also heard from the police department that they've got, that there is a list, but that there are many, like if it feels like a big list now, it can be because there are people on it that aren't in the community anymore.
Gotcha.
So like
A list of who's been banned.
Well, and I've been told that when I talked to the captain about it, he says, "Well, you know," I said, "sometimes I have a son that's bipolar, okay? And the number one side effect is didn't think you're okay and don't need your medicine. So it's constantly level and up and down. So let's say somebody has a trigger, somebody triggers them or something, and they fly off the handle. I said, if they come back on medication and some, a note from the doctor or something, can they be back in? And he says it just depends on the person. I have to, and he has to keep the people that are there safe and also his staff.
So it's a case by case basis. So those will be questions directly for Sally's, right? So what gets you banned? How long are the different bans? Is there a lifetime ban? If you're banned, what services could you still be eligible for? And then what are the solutions there? And then what about the people that aren't banned but don't want to go in the Salvation Army, right? I mean, that's their right too, but they may still need services, right?
Well, and it may be their mental health too, and not wanting to go in where there's a big group of people,
Right.
There's all different.
Well, and that was our experience. So we provided transportation during COVID. And when COVID was this strange thing that no one knew what it was, there were some folks that opted to sleep outside in the dead of winter in the snow because they didn't want to be next to people because they didn't know what COVID was going to do, right? I mean, that was like in year one,
Death sentence.
and right. And so that's terrifying. So it's like, okay, I've got a choice to stay in here with 80 other people and maybe get COVID and die because I don't know what it's going to do, or I can sleep out in the woods and in 25-degree weather.
And there are
what a
quite a few
choice.
people who are happy living in a van that's been converted into a recreational van, or some people who have a motorhome. So we need to look at that too.
Yeah. Go ahead, Courtney. You wanted to-
I was wondering if there are safe parking sites in the Bremerton Kitsap area.
Definitely put that on the list. There's not. Anton
Not
Pressinger
officially.
from Northwest Hospitality is trying to work with like local homeowners and places to kind of create like this like a network or a database of different places. But that's slow going, so there's just not a lot.
And is there any outreach to churches? Because at the state level, the law says that churches can do safe parking sites.
That one, will you put Northwest Hospitality on there? If they're not, that's one we would definitely direct to him because he was spearheading that. So, which
Because
would
I
be
know
awesome.
in Paulsville, I stayed in my car at a safe parking, and it was at a Christian facility that was also a school.
Wendy, a side question, not to go too deep down the rabbit hole, is there someone that is victimizing the folks that have cars on ML King? Because I drove past there yesterday, and so many folks have flats. Why are the tires all flat? Who's doing that? That's bizarre.
I plan on going out there with a comrade, so I'll ask around.
Yeah, please do.
And some of them
I saw that
won't-
yesterday. I'm like,
some of them
what's
won't
going
tell
on?
you because
I'll try to be
there's
sly.
a pecking order, and a lot of them. I have to say, I go down there every day picking up garbage, and there is a big needle box that is full. And I don't know who to contact. I don't know if that was taken legally or illegally, but it needs to be replaced because I've been putting them in bottles like this. But a lot
Health department.
of right out in front of you smoking whatever they're smoking. I mean, they're not afraid.
Well, that's BPD policy now that they don't step in for drug infractions. But that's worth clarifying if it feels like it's something that we need to know about, or do we even care?
Well, when I do street outreach, I don't care if they're using drugs. As a neighboring citizen, I just care if the hygiene is available, both in the disposal of needles and just general hygiene in general.
I know food, not bombs. They're great. They come out with all kinds of things.
Yeah.
They help with that.
Yeah, and I actually have a bag of mutual aid from Food Not Bombs for the folks down there. So I dropped that off today.
So is Food Not Bombs taking used needles?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
But I know that there is a box on the Marvin Williams side of the street, and it is full.
It's full.
I don't know who to take it to, or I would.
Matt just came in. Matt, do you know who services the needle box?
My guess is Kitsap Public Health. So I'm pretty sure it's them, but I don't know that for 100%. But I can try to follow up as well. I was curious. I have not heard of Food Not Bombs. Are they a relatively new organization?
No, they've been here for at least as far as I know. When COVID first started, we were doing our food service Thursdays in front of the Urban Plant Shop. Then Bailey was down there every day, and then Food Not Bombs was there. So at least 2 years for sure they've been down there. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's a chapter. Okay.
And they're on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday nights.
see, and that would be good for everyone to know too, right? Is
Oh,
when are those services provided and
And New Day would then feed on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Mhm.
but they're gone now. They've moved. And then on Monday nights was at by the sea, the Catholic church up there.
Lady of the Sea?
Lady of the Sea.
Lady of the Sea.
The problem was that there is that there are several people that are on wheelchairs and walkers or crutches that can't get up there.
So maybe that's an opportunity to have a conversation with them, and G2 could bring the meals down
Well,
on that day.
when I was at the rescue mission, I talked Nate into they got to borrow a van from Kitsap, the bus system.
Oh, transit?
Yeah, and they used that and transported us up to the church, the brick church up on top of the hill by the college.
Lincoln.
Lincoln,
Yes.
yes, and this was all pre-COVID.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, they're not Lincoln anymore, but Lincoln was awesome. Their food was great too, wasn't it?
yeah, because
Their
they
chili.
Were, they were professional chefs
Mhm.
that came in So
So you just came back in. Go ahead. Oh, there's a hand up. Go ahead, Michael. Just jump in, Mike. And Regina. Thank you.
Are you gonna go, Mike? I let Mike go first.
No, I didn't have a hand up. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm looking for volunteers to help me with sorting my donations resources for the homeless. I got lots of clothes and hygienes and things like that for them. So if someone wants to help me sort those out and create the packages, we can hand them out anytime too.
Regina, could you put your information in the chat there?
can I say something?
Okay.
I'm down there every day and I am bringing bags full of clothes that haven't even been touched or worn back home to rewash, to bring to the clothing closet. And I'll go down there with a list, write someone's name down, they tell me what size they need, and I go back and get it. They're just, everybody is really helping down there with clothes and things like that. And so I would suggest, maybe New Day Ministries was short on clothes when they had that barbecue. And that would be a good place because they come out once a month and do a barbecue and everybody can pick their clothes.
So drop off the clothes with them?
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're new.
I do. I'm actually going to their ribbon cutting ceremony. They are in the old WorkSource building off of Sylvan. So I'll look that up and I'll put that in the chat. Michael, unless you would like to do that for me, sir. Thank you. So let's digress because we kind of went down a rabbit hole. We need to form, what are we trying to resolve, right? We talked about housing. We talked about bathrooms. We talked about trash. We talked about mental health services. We talked about physical health services. Is there anything else that we're missing? Food.
Even more focusing. That feels pretty broad. Who is it that we are trying to support? People whose needs are not being met. At first, we said those people who are banned from Sally's, but it's more than that. Because Sally's isn't a 24/7 facility, and people have needs all of the time. So
Yeah, I think we're just trying to address the people that are on ML King, period, regardless of what category they're in. We're just trying to service those folks in that area, whatever that is. You know what I'm saying?
Whether they're banned from salaries
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Absolutely. So, is there anything else that we need to add as far as what we're trying to advocate for? Food, shelter, toilets, showers,
Water.
healthcare,
Water.
water,
I got water, sink,
laundry. Anything else?
Salvation Army is a hydration station, so they do give water to. They walk around.
Even those that are
Even
banned?
those that are
Okay.
banned, yes, they are
All
a
right.
hydration station per county.
Okay, perfect. Anything else that we're advocating for?
Sometimes they just need someone to listen to them
Okay.
and not say anything.
All right.
But just look.
Put that down, Joe, as a 6 or a 7.
I don't know how to say this particularly, but they deserve security as well, in the sense that I've heard some unflattering stories about how Bremerton police are engaging with the unhoused. And so when law enforcement wasn't mentioned earlier to be invited to as a stakeholder, I have my own issues and history with law enforcement, in my proximity to an abused person. And I tend to not invite law enforcement to the table because they're enforcers of policy and not policy developers. And as I have been heard to say, I don't ask the hound for advice on how to treat the fox and the hare. So I suggest developing good policy and then making sure the police know how to enforce it or not enforce. But that's me from a different area. But I am careful about, like law enforcement tends to see the unhoused as problems versus people with problems.
Well, and so my counter to that would be that's exactly why they need to be there, right? We need to understand everyone's perspective. So even their perspective, right? So are they behaving in a manner that we don't understand? And on the other side, through dialogue and conversation, we can change that behavior, right? So if what do you call it, the fox and the hound?
No,
right?
yeah, the
Whatever
fox.
that is.
I don't ask the
The
advice
fox
of
and
the
the
hound on
Right.
the treatment of the fox
So
and the hare.
let's say you leave them out of the conversation, and we're making these great solutions, but the BPD is still coming down, and they're just being heavy-handed and undoing all of the progress that we're trying to make.
Well,
right?
one hopes that the policies, these wonderful policies, are reinforced and really put into action by government. And government defines the action of the police. They give the orders. So if the government says, we're not going to do this anymore, the police can't do it anymore. See, the police aren't decision makers.
Well, and while that's true, this is a dialogue, right? Everyone on equal footing. We're not coming in here as the police are sitting here on high telling us what they're going to do and how they do their job, right? This is go ahead, Wendy, and then go ahead, Joe.
But I do agree with her. They are the puppet unto the master's hand, which would be the police department, and then next would be the mayor.
And while that may be true,
And I'm not saying they shouldn't come to the table.
I know.
I'm just saying, they're doing what they're
while
told to.
that may be true, at city council meetings, either council or the mayor are saying that they don't know that this is happening, or they're not seeing this is happening, right? So when you have everyone in the room, it makes it a lot harder for them to say that this isn't happening or this is happening, right? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, my sense is knowing where others stand, particularly those who have power, can help us to strengthen our work to protect people from anybody who might abuse their power. So I hear you, and I think we can talk some more about who's coming to the table. Personally, I feel like I want to bring him in so that I can hold him accountable, so that when I ask a question and get an answer that I find disturbing, then there's an opportunity for some dialogue about it.
Well, and if that's set in the space with city council and the police and all the organizations there, then yeah, that is an opportunity for conversation. So this doesn't make sense. Why is this happening in this way? Why can't we do this? And city council or the mayor can say, no, well, this is what we're going to do now. So maybe that was your marching orders before, but this is what we're doing now. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I'm with Courtney on being wary of involving the police for a lot of the similar reasons. I also think it's important to hear their voice, but their actions are speaking for their voice right now, and their actions have been detrimental to the people in the neighborhood. And I think we should ask some pointed questions and have some points up right away and some evidence up right away, so we're not sitting there going, we heard this. You know?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they show up, that means they're ready for dialogue. So what's to stop us from asking the pointed questions?
But I think we should have specific examples ready to go, so it's not, I didn't hear about this. And for people who have the power right now, I didn't hear about it, or I don't know about it, is just a BS excuse. You have power, you have control.
But that begins to remove it. And that was the whole point of not going around next month and saying, hi, I'm Marwan Cameron, executive director, yada, yada, yada. I am the chief of police, and this is what we do in this area, and this is why we do what we do. Just go ahead straight into the answer. And that's something that we can do. I think Deborah was, the survey would be helpful. It might need to be individually tweaked for each individual or organization that it goes to. So answer these questions. What is your policy for policing, because it's not public service, right? For that area. You see what I'm saying? So when they come, then they're coming to share that out. But if folks agree to come to the table and it just devolves into an attack, we won't get anywhere. And if they're not at the table, then all of the work that we have going on, if the police just keep coming and doing their thing, right, then we're only going to have go ahead, Matt. You are.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer a few points from. Okay. Okay. Hello.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I just want to offer a few points from our experience, and I don't want to discount. And please don't hear me not discounting anyone's experience. And we've heard stories from clients too that have had negative interactions with the police. So I know those exist and those are real, and that's part of the narrative. But I also need to speak to the other side of the narrative too. And we've had some partners in the police force that have worked really well with us, and it's not all one story, right? There's not a uniform experience for homeless folks working or people that are unhoused working with police, nor for police officers working with people that are experiencing homelessness. And so there are some folks that we've worked with, officers that are really trauma informed and really trying and calling us and want and are hungry to work with us. So that's why I do like the posture of, listening and inviting them in, because I do think there is some energy there. It's not uniform. It's not all, I don't think it's by any stretch, across the board. But I guess I just want to offer is, professionally, we work with police somewhat frequently. They are a vital partner, and I do think they need to be at the table as far as listening. And I think also bringing, you had Janelle McFeet on, part of the Welcome Home Project. She works really well doing listening circles with formerly incarcerated folks and bringing in the police officers and the folks, that are justice involved and actually moving forward. And I think they've gotten some tremendous results from that as far as, bringing in officers into kind of into a lot of our world. And I've long wanted to kind of bring some of that, beyond their current program, and they're slowly expanding. But just a plug for them, and that might be a resource too on how to handle this as well, is, hearing what Janelle's opinion is, because she's got a lot of really good connections with the different, sheriff and police officers and leadership in the police force, and really work to build a good relationship, right, with the client, right? She has folks that her success coaches are tremendously well trained, right, and represent the clients, and also representing, the police force and their concerns and how to bridge that gap. And that's why I love the ethos of bridging the gaps, right? How can we? And I understand there's a lot of it's landmines, right? There's a lot of areas that can go wrong, and I think it's definitely something. I love how the energy you all are thinking of how to do that thoughtfully and bringing all the different concerns for some folks that police might be triggering. And I think those are all real concerns. So I think it is something to really think through. And that might be a point to what Deborah, and I think, I forgot your name, Joe, I think you were saying too, and I might second is, targeting, right? And being, because some of these goals, like housing is a huge ballooning topic. And some of the solutions are really difficult, require tremendous funding, right? Like they're Pendleton Place style solutions, which is, years of work cross agencies and take huge bandwidth. And I think we should be advocating for that. But if you're wanting specific results, I might try to target. I think there is a lot of energy behind bathrooms, that type of, like, what are some immediate solutions? Those might be stuff to kind of target. Because if we go down the housing route, and I'm not opposed, I'm in housing, I'm all for folks advocating for housing. I am just saying those are long-term. Those are, that's raising capital, serious capital from a lot of different sources, even for shelters, even for rehabs, even for buildings that are empty. Those are big projects. Even what Foundation for Homeless Poverty Management is going through right now, right? They're going into a building that was already there and how long it's taking, right? We've had rehab projects that have cost tremendous amounts, right? And in some cases, it's actually cheaper to tear it down and then build fresh. So all that to say is, I think, the housing is something that can go big, and I think it's good to talk about, but I love the idea of maybe targeting a little bit of like, hey, this might be something we really want to focus on for this group in the next 6 months, right? Of like, how can we make the downtown a little bit better? And there is a lot on all of us on the professionals that we want to support this, right? A lot of it is, funds and how do we do it in agency capacity, but there is a lot of willingness to help out. And like I said, on the homeless committee, a lot of folks were on that committee and excited about doing stuff. So I love this energy coming up, and I do think there's a lot of interest, but I might suggest targeting.
I still feel that the Martin versus Swayze still says that the city is responsible for housing when there isn't enough. We're going to be losing the rescue mission. They still have 6 to 8 months, and they didn't realize, like you said, how much it was going to cost to redo that building. So they right now have a long waiting list to even get in there, and that's the facility. Yeah. And so we're back to the Salvation Army again. And we've always had 2 shelters. And we even found out that we needed them when we were out at the pavilion. We realized there was a big need there. So I realized we're back to Martin Luther King Day. Those people deserve to have a roof over their head. And even if it's just housing first and then second, it's really different.
I'm thinking about our upcoming meeting, and I'm back to the concerns about who's at the table and what is this dialogue going to look like? I'm a little concerned, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, that I want to be really careful to avoid this being like offering a platform for people to stand up and talk about all the wonderful things that they're doing. So I'm not sure how we will make the dialogue, maybe small groups, make that happen. Because, if we say, okay, now it's the police department's turn to talk and tell us what they're doing, then we just hear about all their, fabulous successes and intentions.
Well, that's what a moderator is for. Go ahead, Michael. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
I will see you guys all in a little bit or later on, and I look forward to the meeting that will happen next month.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
That was it. So your answer was that through moderation, we can protect against that.
Through moderation, and in the beginning, again, those that do speak, they will be targeted questions, right? So, again, what is it that you've done? What doesn't work? We do need to hear it because we need to hear the perspectives, right? But this isn't a place to filibuster and grandstand, right? And so that will be moderated, because I will be moderating. And then if we do have mediators for the small groups, then we can keep it on task. And that's why I feel like none of us should be, leading those discussions, because there is so much bias, right, in that. And so I think that we'd be better served as having someone just making sure that the conversation continues forward.
I'm sorry. If you want people with lived experience at the table, I ask that the law enforcement not be in uniform and not be carrying weapons, because if you want honest dialogue with lived experience, you have to honor the trauma that comes from law enforcement. And then I don't want to distract between like the good cop and the versus bad cop discussion. It's moot. Law enforcement as a system is a system of white supremacy and class suppression. It doesn't matter if there's good ones or bad ones. All police officers, all law enforcement enforce unjust laws. So we have to keep the discussion about law enforcement at the all level. So good cops are nice. They're not universal.
So will you, we have to move on. So I've got to stop it here. But will you put Janelle McFeet down? Because I think she can extend that invitation and then request that officers are in plain clothes, which I think would be phenomenal. Thank you for that.
I think it's awesome. Really awesome. And that by doing that, they will be demonstrating their willingness to serve at a level that works for everyone.
They should be marked. Like they should probably have their badge on so that people don't say something incriminating or or unhelpful. Yeah. So but just they should not be intimidating.
Is there a bulletin board over there or a dry erase board that you could draw Martin Luther King Way Park and where the houses are, where Salvation Army is, so that people can see what we're...
We could do that? Okay. Can you help me with that, Sean? Okay.
Yeah. And that way, you could be wherever you're going to, what area we're talking about.
Yeah.
That way we can also help.
Okay. So we might need like maybe 6 of those as we break up into our subgroups, so that they can have that as a reference while they have their discussions in the small groups. I think that would be really helpful. So let me ask this. We were setting 2:00, but I think this almost needs to be like a half-day workshop. So would it work to do a 10 to 4 or a 12 to 4? Because 2 hours, I don't think we're going to get through it all and make some significant progress with some action items that we can work on. Matt, I mean, as the professional in so many agencies that are, have to shift and juggle things around, could you envision KCR and some of the other ones being able to carve out maybe a 4-hour time period for that?
Possibly. I definitely agree. And I'm torn between two poles, because you have at one end, you'll get more participation if it's a little shorter time, right? Because it's easier to carve out that time, especially since we haven't sent invites out and we're less than a month away. Mm-hmm. So that's already a lot of myself and a lot of our counterparts, right, are booked, out month and a half, just with different stuff. Not impossible though. I mean, we'll, if we can't attend all of it, we'll at least attend part of it. And I do think there's a lot of positive energy and a lot of people that want to be part of this. So even if they can't attend all, maybe part. But I definitely think there's a balance there, right? Especially with short notice. But I do think you'll get participation.
Hold your thought 1 second. Will you put down, please, monitors with breakout Zooms? So if I can do that and have these TVs in the different breakouts, then people that can't physically come, they might still be able to participate.
Hybrids are more complicated to run. You're right, but I do think we'll get a lot more folks, especially if they can Zoom and then maybe stay in their office. So I think that's a positive idea.
Breakout and the live people.
Well, but we might not have a mix of folks if it's just Zoom. It may just be a group of professionals. So if I have a monitor at each station, so let's say there might be multiple people from BHA that might want to come, but one person can't physically be there. Housing could be in group A, but then the physical person for housing could be in group B, right? So we still have that more representative group of the organizations and the people and the individuals that are trying to help.
Now, I don't know, did I misunderstand? Tell me if I have, but I thought that the Heart group doesn't work within the city limits of Bremerton.
I don't, Matt, do you know that?
I thought they said something wrong in the county.
Yeah, a little complicated. So the HEART program is the county's program. There's kind of two different sides of it. So there's the county side. So it's run by Jared Moran, and he's the HEART coordinator. And so he coordinates the overall county response to encampments. You are right, is that the official county response is outside the city of Bremerton city limits, right? Or the city of Bremerton city limits. Am I saying that right? Bremerton city limits? Something. Anyways, so they don't do responses inside. However, that's at the county level. There's the other side of the HEART, or there's kind of subgroups, right? So there's a county HEART response, and then there's the outreach team, which that we have two navigators that are HEART coordinators that are HEART outreach, excuse me, not coordinators, HEART outreach folks that go out across the county. They are not bound by the city limits. So they will still, their primary focus is to go to encampments that Jared has identified, and those are outside. So they're primarily going outside, but they themselves, because they're Kitsap Community Resources, they can do outreach and sometimes do when needed to do outreach within the city. But there's just not a formal encampment response from the county because that's the city jurisdiction. So the formal HEART team, does not operate in there, but KCR's HEART team, if needed and on occasion, can go throughout all of Kitsap to help, because they also can do all the HSC function as doing coordinated entry, assessments, and trying to connect resources. Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be a great perspective. He's wonderful to work with. He's really smart, but they will not be, they won't have official jurisdiction to do encampment response here. Absolutely. Now that's just the HEART program. Kirsten Jewell, who is the housing homelessness program manager at the county, manages most of the homeless service dollars that come into Kitsap. She's Jared's boss, and I think Marwan already has her coming. It's hugely beneficial because she can fund programs, even though she's at the county level. They can fund programs that can cross city and out of city. Like a lot of our homeless service programs, which she's the grant manager, don't have city line. It's just all of Kitsap. So that's just that specific program, because of that's really more of a property jurisdiction issue of why they have that for that program. But most of the program, there's a few that do. Most of the programs do not have city. A small number have, like we operate the county side, and then the city or Bremerton Housing Authority operates the city side, but that's rare. Most of them don't. So I still think it's very important to have them there and to speak to kind of what they're doing. And also, if there is money to be involved, most of that money is probably going to come from the Housing and Homelessness Division. And that's why I think it's very important to have them there.
I think the big thing is that we definitely give ourselves grace. We haven't done this before. We're attempting something. We're going to make mistakes, but it needs to happen. This needs to happen.
I want to speak to your question about how long to aim for. I like the idea of like a half-day thing, and I'm feeling the same time concerns that a month away to ask people to plan to commit for a half day feels a lot. So I don't know the answer.
I don't at all. One, we have some of our because winter's coming quickly, right? So we're already talking about almost the end of September. It's already starting to get cold. October. The month after is October. So now it's cold. And it's going to take time to work on whatever we come up with as a working group. And those wheels don't typically move fast. So we're not going to have everyone here. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but we have momentum. I think we have to strike while the iron is hot.
And you have to remember, it's 2-hour parking on Martin Luther King Way in one day. You cannot come back and park another 2 hours.
Wow.
That's the zoning there. Well, that's what most of the zoning is.
So Courtney, will you ask if that's maybe
Regarding-
why the tires are flattened? So the
Well,
feels
because the needy would normally park there. Let's see, I don't know, this is they have it so now they have to park in parking lots and pay the fee to the parking lots and not be able to park on the streets.
interesting. All right, see, there's a lot of information there. All right, so
The
This is-
Diamond
this is
Parking
punitive.
really wants Hoffman's house. I'm going to tell you that.
so
Those parking limitations are government. That's government screwing people, and the most vulnerable people. Like, I'm blown away. I'm sorry, I was just so blown away.
there's a lot to work on here, Courtney.
Oh my god.
So,
But those rules aren't specifically for that block. That's city rules. What we need are exceptions to the rules for the people we care for on that block.
yes, but we hold on. We cannot keep it. We gotta end. So we'll just go down the road forever. So do we capture the lunch hour? Is the question. Do we do like a 10 to 2? Do we do a 12 to 4? What would be? Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why it's centered around the community breakfast, right? Well, so we'll have the food going the entire time. It's like, hey, we already have. Let's use it. Let's build on what we have.
Energy drinks.
Yeah, energy drinks.
Pepsi or Coca-Cola.
Pepsi or Coke. Okay, so soda. Take note, G2. So, what do we do? Morning into afternoon? Do we do lunch to early evening? Like what block should we go for here? 10 to 4, 12 to 6, 12 to fresh. 10 to 2. All right.
Working lunch.
Well, you get to eat all the way through. Well, what's going to happen is the food is going to be here, and we're actually going to meet in the other space because we
with
won't
taller
have enough to
with
accommodate
taller
everyone.
bouquets.
Taller bouquets.
Yeah.
I think if we create an agenda and then we send it out, if people are saying I can't make it for the 4 hours, then maybe they make it for the group, the breakout session, right? So their voice is added to the discussion and the solution. So that's what we'll do. We'll create an agenda based on 10 to 4. We'll break it down. So what I see is the introductions, which is not really introductions. It's just stating, what you've tried, what doesn't work, what works, doing our breakout groups, coming back, sharing it out. And then the last step would be creating either the subcommittees or the stakeholders that can actually take action, like the county or city council, their directed action that they're going to take and try to implement a pilot program or change how they do things. So kind of that 4-stage thing. And then we'll create a time to come back. So we don't mind using, this space in this venue because now we've done this breakfast, 6 times now? So it's built. So this can be a built-in to have this discussion if that is helpful, right? And as the neighborhood barbecue is over, the president of G2 is sitting there. Maybe we add another breakfast. Okay.
You know who you need to talk to. I'm all for it. But everyone is fine first.
So okay.
What about the city attorney and some of the laws that they have tried to make around the Martin versus Boise?
Yeah, well, add that on there.
Well, I'm thinking between now and then, that parking thing, that can be a city council issue to bring to the next city council.
Well, what?
Do a little research in the next week and
Yeah.
find out. And if we,
Because I know when Peninsula bought that building, they bought it from the previous person who bought it from the rescue mission. They sold the 2 pieces as one, but when Peninsula bought it, they only bought the building. They didn't buy the parking lot. If we could buy that parking lot and use that for our camping or whatever we're going to do.
Well, that might be the dream list, right?
That's right, because those people can't be out there. I watched policemen go by with the tabs expired, people who haven't moved, you know what I mean? So,
All right. So we've got the date, we have the time, we have the agenda. The thing that we have the needs, right? Those 7 needs. So those are the things that we're going to address. Is there anything else that we need for that day for this to be as successful as?
I would suggest keeping your gluten-free pancakes separate from your regular pancakes, and it would make it better.
Gluten-free pancakes?
Well, there was some gluten-free pancakes, but they were in the same container as the gluten ones.
I think it started out in the right place, and then as it got late and the chef had to go, things got combined.
It was a little, like jokey to mention. It's a legit thing because I'm a.
I don't know unless
not
Mark
a real.
is willing to make those. We may not have a gluten-free option.
Well, they were delicious, I have to say. But I never,
the
as a
gluten-free
as a gluten-free person, I never expect to be catered to. But
So,
it really was
Courtney,
just a little note,
let me ask
and you're
you-
trying to wrap.
Let me ask you a question. I'll ask you offline.
Okay.
Some alternatives, like is oatmeal gluten-free? I don't know what those things are. So
Sure,
what could be
we
an
can have that
alternative?
talk.
It wasn't about the food, it was about where the
No, I got it. But Matt makes those on his own accord. Mark, and he doesn't make very many. So if we're increasing quadruple, we may have quadruple the need for a gluten-free option. So I want to have that discussion on what are some alternatives that G2 maybe can serve that we can take on financially. You know what I mean?
Cool.
So that's perfect. Any other things as we wrap? I think this is a powerful working group. Feeling good? Yeah? All right. So I'm going to put the email up. I think the best way to do it is probably send it through G2. That email is gather2grow at g2.org. I'll make sure that everyone in the room gets that email address, and everyone out there on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Thank you for joining us, and Zoom. We still have several people that are watching live, so we appreciate you. I'm just going to go ahead and type this in the chat for those of you that are listening. Thank you for staying with us for the last 2 hours and 22 minutes. You are awesome. And again, any questions that you have, go ahead and send that email to gather2 at g2g2.org. All right. So, send your questions. For everyone here, for everyone in Zoom, I am Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. We will see you. Oh, hey, there's a programming update. This Friday, IWW is coming on at 11 a.m., so don't miss it. It'll be a great show. All right. So again, I'm Marwan Cameron. This is The Conduit. We'll see you